Hello everyone, I'm Dead Knight and this is In It to Win It. We're in season 93. We're talking about some of our favorite standard decks and what the standard meta looks like. Don't forget to comment and like this video and subscribe to my channel to see some walkthroughs and guides for other popular decks and all the decks I'm hitting Legend with. And today we're going to focus on the thing that we just have to talk about, the OWLephant in the room, OTK Owl Warlock. This deck, I think, was originally envisioned as a meme, and it turns out it is actually really consistent and frustrating a lot of players and making a lot of people just really happy playing the deck, really sad to play against the deck. And for me, really happy that I farmed it all the way to Legend by just beating it over and over with Paladin. But I do want to talk about this deck and the strengths and weakness, why Paladin does so well against it, why some people are so frustrated by it, and what it takes to make a deck like this to begin with. So people look at what they think is the culprit to this deck, which is the newly printed Humongous Owl. This is an 8/4 for 7 that death rattles to deal 8 damage to a random enemy. So this death rattle by itself is not really that strong. The card has super aggressive stats, but it's really vulnerable, which is fine because it has an even more aggressive death rattle. It's expensive, it does nothing when it hits the board. But that death rattle, though, when you have another new card, a Warlock legendary, Tamsin's Phylactery, can single-handedly end the game. Phylactery is a 4-mana shadow spell where you discover a death rattle minion that died on your side of the board. You give its death rattle to every minion you have. So Warlock is no stranger to abusing the board with tokens and abusing big spells. To do that, they were previously led to Darkest Hour and Bloodbloom, this combo getting nerfed because they were using this combo and cheating out a million shutdown minions. Now we're in a similar situation, except it's in standard, and it feels really bad to lose this deck because it feels like there's nothing you can do. So the way this works is you play a Humongous Owl, you immediately kill it with something like Grimoire of Sacrifice so that your opponent can't silence it or bounce it or do something to it. And then once that death rattle has triggered once, you play a bunch of tokens with something like Wicked Shipment, and then you play Tamsin Roame, which will allow you to play a shadow spell again for 0 mana. Then you play Tamsin's Phylactery, copy the owl on all these imps, then you play it again for 0 mana, and then you blow up the board with School Spirits, or you can use a Grimoire again, and then just death rattles on death rattles on death rattles. You're looking at over 100 damage potentially. So even if your opponent has 7 minions on the board ready for this, it will still kill all your opponent's minions and kill them. So, and because this is all happening on one turn, if people are doing it right, there's no way for you to respond to it. So you have to kill them before this happens, or you have to disrupt them. But the thing about this deck is it's actually pretty easy to disrupt, which I'll get into in a little bit. First, what is it that is enabling this? Because this is a really complicated combo that requires the owl, it requires Grimoire of Sacrifice, it requires Tamsin, the Phylactery, usually Wicked Shipment. If not Wicked Shipment, you're talking 2 or 3 other minions, or the new hero Dreadlich Tamsin to get a bunch of those fell imps out. So you're looking at 6 or 7 cards that are required to happen within 2 turns of each other to get this going. That's a pretty large percentage of your deck, and it can't happen until at least usually turn 8, but I'll get into that in a sec too. So how is it that you're using a huge percentage of your deck and at least 8 turns to kill people consistently? Well, what happens is it goes into the core Warlock control package that has been working since Forged in the Barrens and a little bit from United in Stormwind, but the package that they have is huge. The most important card of this package, I would say, is Touch of the Nathrezim. So I said this was the best card that came out in United in Stormwind, dealing 2 damage to a minion and gaining you 4 health if it dies. That's a massive board swing, getting rid of a minion for 1 mana and gaining that 4 health. So that's a lot. You used to be able to gain 4 health for 1 mana by killing one of your own minions only with Dark Pact, now you can kill one of your opponent's minions and get the same effect. Then you have Drain Soul, which is also killing a minion and gaining life. These are really good early game removals. Sometimes you get more than one of these if you need to play your Tamsin early. But I think the other card that is frustrating a lot of people is Moarg Artificer. So this guy is about to rotate out, been around for 2 years, a 2/4 for 2, and all damage dealt to minions from spells is doubled, which since Drain Soul has lifesteal, Moarg Artificer and Drain Soul is taking out a large minion and gaining you 6 life. And if, God forbid, you play double Moarg Artificer, then you're looking at 12 life. We're all really well familiar with this with OTK Demon Hunter, using this with Fellscream Blast and Ilgainoth and just killing somebody in 1 turn with Moarg Artificer. Now I think it's finally being used as intended, as just an extra way to deal extra damage to minions. Probably the most worrisome card with this is School Spirits in this deck, because you're looking at 4 damage to the whole board for 5 mana, and that's the thing that's really frustrating a lot of people. But with that package, that allows them to survive at least to the mid game. You have the great card drawing from Life Tap, the hero power, and then of course from Backfire, which is drawing 3 cards for 3 mana and dealing you 3 damage. Well worth it. Great card. So lots of card draw, lots of removal that's gaining you life. But the capstone to this package is Runed Mithril Rod, which has already seen a nerf. It is now 4 mana. Weapon that after you draw 4 cards, it reduces the cost of all cards in your hand by 1. So ideally, if Warlock will play this out, you'll play this on turn 4, you'll reduce everything in your hand twice, and then by turn 6 you're playing the Owl and killing it, and turn 7 you're killing your opponent. So that is ideal. Unfortunately, because this is reliant on Runed Mithril Rod to have any consistency, the deck is also extremely vulnerable to Rustrot Viper, which is probably the best tech card ever printed because it's tradable and has great stats as a 3/4 for 3 and battle cries to destroy an opponent's weapon. So when I'm playing Warlock, my opponent doesn't even have to give anything up to play Rustrot Viper because of the tradable. So a lot of decks are running this anyway. And if destroyed Runed Mithril Rod on turn 4, it's almost impossible to recover from that, because wasting your turn 4 against an aggressive deck is usually just a loss. Not only that, but they're putting a minion on the board, so it's not even like they had to burn a spell and they had to waste their turn too. So I lose my turn 4, they get a minion on the board. That's really bad for me. And then I don't get to speed my hand up. So I can't play my removal faster, I can't get my combo faster, I can't draw cards faster. So Rustrot Viper single-handedly is just wrecking these owls. And it's, people are worried about this deck, and Rustrot Viper single-handedly beats it. The other thing that does really well against it, since we talked about a lot of single target board removal that heals, is minions that have Divine Shield are really hard to remove with this deck. There's only one card that you can really use to reliably remove Divine Shield minions, and that is Full Blown Evil. So if you look at stats on HS Replay, Full Blown Evil has a massive win rate because Paladin is so strong and Divine Shield is so strong against this deck. So you have to play Full Blown Evil or you have no chance of beating Paladin. So you think of what a Paladin is doing. Turn 1, they play Iron Deep Trog, and they think that they've got you as a Warlock, and realistically Iron Deep Trog is a major threat. Turn 2, they can put Noble Mount on this. If you didn't kill the Trog before Noble Mount, you only have one way to kill it, and it's Full Blown Evil. So you have to run Full Blown Evil. That's pretty much the deck. I mean, it's combo based, so your end game plays are looking very similar every game if you make it to the end game. Because of that removal, it's consistent. You must play Full Blown Evil. I think you must play Dreadlich Tamsin, otherwise your only way to trigger the combo is with Wicked Shipment. You must play Tamsin's Phylactery, because that is the combo. You almost must play Tamsin Roame. It's great on offense and defense, so even if you don't need it for the combo, you can't survive without it. So a lot of legendaries go into this deck. which I think is a lot of the feels bad too, because people who are losing to it feel like it's out of their reach to play it. They think, oh, this is the best deck in the format. It's so good. It looks so fun. And I can't play it because it requires at least 3 legendaries that I don't have. So I get a lot of the feel bad, but this deck it's fun, but it's not as strong as it might feel. Just because getting to combo turn is not always easy. I think there's other more successful combo decks like Garrote Rogue, Celestial Druid, even Bolner OTK Shaman is making a resurgence now that there's freeze in the game. So this is just one of many combo decks. It's got a high barrier to entry because of all the legendaries. It's really good, but so vulnerable to disruption. So if you play at your own risk. Nothing you can really do about the Viper except try to play Runed Mithril Rod and get as many cards as you can in one turn. But yeah, I hope you have fun with it. I don't think it's as much of a scourge of the meta as it feels like. I didn't really have any problem beating it, but it is fun to play. It's fun to get the combo off, and I hope you enjoy it. And hoot hoot, like and subscribe, and don't forget to comment, and we'll see you next time.